Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Late Night at the Movies and the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. This is episode 83, I believe, and this is The Fall. Go ahead. It is your pick.
I picked this movie. Here it is.
For once, she busted out the
I thought about it ahead of time to go and get it. You know, I had a trip to the living room earlier, and I thought I'd just grab it while I was out there. So here's the thing. My notes here, my recollection is actually incorrect now that I've gone to the living room and got the movie itself. I still think, okay, this was another Giant Tiger bargain bin movie when I was a teenager. Saw it in the bargain bin, was very captivated by the cover art.
Yes.
Which is inspired by a Dali painting, Salvador Dali painting, or two paintings, I think. So yeah, obviously the cover art's very interesting. I grabbed it based on that alone, didn't know anything about it. I probably did notice that it says David Fincher and Spike Jonze Presents above the title.
I noticed that. Yeah.
They had nothing to do with the production of the movie. They just signed on to attach their names to it, probably to give it some traction, which is nice.
Figured, yeah.
But I might have seen that and also been like, damn, I gotta see what that's all about. But from my recollection, I don't think I watched it for years after I bought it. I think I just had it in the collection and I didn't watch it for a long time.
Oh, wow.
But what I wrote here in my notes was I thought that I had this in a combo DVD with The Cell, which is his other movie, but I'm wrong. The combo, same bargain bin. The combo one I have is The Cell with Pan's Labyrinth, which is actually kind of fitting. I like that as a combo. But anyway, so yeah, I don't think I watched it for years. I think I just had it. I have kind of an extensive physical media collection when it comes to the movies. None of it is recent, but I used to collect a lot back in the day, so just hunt through bargain bins. So I've got a shit ton of physical media as far as movies go. Not as much as Nico, granted. He's got way more than I do, but
yeah.
I got none, so.
Yeah, I've got a bunch. But I can't, so I'm trying to remember the first time I watched it. And I don't think, I'm not totally certain, but I think on my first run through of watching it, I didn't appreciate it super well. So I can't recall if I was just, it's 2006 when it came out, but I probably picked it up 2007, 2008, around there. So it would have been 15 or 16. But I don't remember being super invested in it the first time I watched it. It wasn't until I rewatched it a second time some years later that I think the themes of it didn't really hit for me at the time. Maybe I just didn't understand it that well. My second watch through is when I really got attached to it. And I do think that it was after I had seen Pan's Labyrinth. And that one really hit for me, and then I started to really pay attention to films after that, so that kind of makes sense for me, at least how I think about it. This is obviously a very visually impressive movie. They shot it in 28 different countries. It took them 4 years to shoot it. They shot all of the hospital stuff in sequence so that the young actress who plays Alexandria could experience the story in a linear way. And
she was young, eh?
She's young, and her English also gets better towards the end of the movie because that's how it was happening. She was spending enough time around all these people that spoke English and stuff. Apparently also the entire crew was under the impression, the cast and crew was under the impression that Lee Pace, who plays Roy, was an actual paraplegic. They were all made to believe that he couldn't walk, and that's wasn't method acting, or I guess it was, but they thought that he was actually paralyzed from the waist down. the first time they saw him standing, the makeup artist was like in shock. She thought he couldn't walk, and he was standing in the hair and makeup trailer one day or whatever, and she couldn't believe it. Okay. I think my thoughts about it are very scattered, so bear with me here. I think that some things that really hit for me in this movie are like, I think I've said this before, and I think that you guys are with me on this. Is like I quite like it when there's not like well-known blockbuster movie actors in films, especially particularly films like this, where they're all people that are like relatively unknown as far as like is concerned, I guess. That it doesn't distract from the narrative of what's going on, being like, oh fuck, I recognize that guy from such and such stupid movie, whatever. So I love that about this movie. I think that it's incredibly polarizing as far as the narrative is concerned, because obviously there's this very imaginative storytelling going on, while there's all these very dark undertones happening in reality while she's like imagining this very fantastical, colorful adventure story. So it's a very interesting dichotomy of these two worlds clashing, so to speak. And it does get quite sad. Yeah, I think it's really great, and I think it's impactful, and I think it's a very strong movie. And that's how I feel.
Well, I think it's jumping the gun a bit, but since you've already brought it up, I think that Pan's Labyrinth is the perfect pairing with this film. Absolutely. I mean,
it's talked about a labyrinth in the film, so I mean,
it's not, it's not
off the head.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that there's a small young girl and dark undertones.
Yeah.
The film of like something in a fantasy world aspect.
But even like Pan's Labyrinth, the color scheme and the palette of the whole movie kind of a little bit more matches what's going on.
Yeah.
Darker in that sense.
Yeah. Pan's Labyrinth is a very gray, earthy toned movie. Even the fantastical parts, there's a lot of greens and stuff, but it's
I still think it might have been because they're telling it to a story, to a child. Your picks always blow my mind. I'm sorry, Julie, you always nail them. Like I really was intrigued by this movie. In that sense, I couldn't watch it. The first 15 minutes, I turned it out. I fell asleep to it. I'll be honest with you. But then when I went to give it, wait. When I went to give it a rewatch and start again from the beginning, and I got locked in. It's just because I was tired that's why I made it only the first 15 minutes into it. Right, but then I was locked. I'll be honest with you. I was just locked into the film. It's such a great story. I'm surprised it's one of those ones you're talking about. You're getting from the bargain bin, but you're right about that.
Lots of fucking gold in these bargain bins, dude.
Well, I mean, there's only one character that I thought maybe I kind of knew, but I don't even think I know her, which was the Evelyn lady, but Nurse Evelyn. But I mean, she kind of I thought I've seen her in something, but I think I'm wrong. But yeah, no. I like when you say the two that they with their casts when they pick not so well actors and stuff, and that's how you know when a movie is written and directed. I think right? Because
if you can, if they don't need like a huge
tag name,
notable cast to carry the movie.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. I didn't research it enough to know how successful it was at box office. I know it did some film festival runs, but nothing that we've heard of necessarily. And I know it's had some nominations and some wins and some kind of obscure film festival things, ones that we would not recognize. But I don't know how crazy it went at box office. It might not have done super well at first. I feel like this is sort of one of those under the radar ones a little bit.
I'm trying to look that up right now, but
yeah, I might freeze up while I look for this.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't have it here.
Box office.
So this was my first time watching it as well, like Jay, and You know, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't
79,000 opening weekend.
Yeah, box office did 3.7 million and the budget was 30 million.
30 million, yeah.
so that's not a success. Yeah.
No.
but critically acclaimed probably, I would
Yeah.
guess. I have heard
A
people
fucking
talk
gem.
about this movie. Yeah, there you go, gem.
A gem of a movie. It is. I was surprised. I'm completely shocked. I was completely shocked, to be honest. I'm not really. Now I'm starting to get used to your picks, and I'm starting to see a theme, I think. But we can bring that up maybe
I
later on.
have a bigger part I did want to bring up about that too, about Julie's picks and this pick. Actually, there's
Here
definitely.
it comes. Let me have it. Here's hot take Nico coming.
Oh no! I mean, I can get to that after. I was just trying to say, like, I've never seen this movie before, and I was trying to say, to be completely honest, I wasn't sure I was gonna like this about 20 minutes into the film. 25 minutes into the film, though, is when it really started to hook me. I think when you started to kind of the other things were getting revealed about this guy and the girl, and then you basically kind of become more invested in the storyline that's happening in the hospital itself. And they really don't spoon feed the narrative to you in this film, which I actually appreciate because it kind of all comes full circle. And I honestly, this is one of those films that I feel like I wish I did watch twice prior to this conversation purely for the fact that you just brought up that you got a lot more out of it the second time around. Because while I was watching it and when I got to the end of the film, I was like, you know what? I actually quite ended up enjoying that. But I think it's one of those films that's going to reward you each, more time you watch it after the first initial watch, because I started to notice obviously the people that were showing up in the story that were in the hospital, and you really don't get a full picture of like the understanding of what happened with this guy. So today I even threw it back on before we recorded when I got, this evening, just to kind of run back a few specific scenes I wanted to check out again. And even the start, I had no idea what the hell was going on at the start the first time I watched it. I was like, what is this black and white? Like, I kind of was a little worried, to be honest with you, because I'm like, I don't know, this seems a little artsy fartsy. I don't know.
Very avant-garde kind of.
Like, how am I going to bail on my own show?
Yeah. No.
No, I know.
But you know what I mean? Like, I was worried, not in the sense that, like, I just, like you said, I do have trust in Julie's picks, but at the end of the day, it's like, there's stuff like Florida Project, which I loved. Then there's stuff like Riddle of Fire, which I didn't love as much. And this kind of is somewhere in between, in my opinion, where I feel like I said, it goes hand in hand with Pan's Labyrinth. And I feel like I would have had even more of an appreciation for the film if I had watched it a second time fully, but I liked it though. I agree with Jay. It is very interesting. There's a lot to unpack. The locations, the fact that there was all practical effects in terms of the set pieces, like where they filmed this, that is amazing in and of itself. Honestly, like you're right. Like it was, some of these structures that they like filmed this movie in are amazing. Like it is breathtaking.
I didn't know elephants could swim like that, bro.
I know, dude. That was.
I
have a point about that later.
I literally turned to Christine when we were watching this, and I said that too. I was just like,
we did that too. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know they could do that.
I get they're buoyant and stuff, but like, come on,
Right.
There's got to be a certain specific
what
point to where you fall.
I'm like, they're so heavy, they can't just be like swimming throughout. But then, like, I don't know, like certain points,
their air in their lungs too.
Big animal, big lungs, dude.
I guess it's pretty crazy though, honestly. But
I just see a shark coming out, boom, taking that thing out.
So yeah, I liked this. I just wish, I honestly do wish, like sometimes I try to, especially with my picks, because I know that I'm going to have to talk a lot about them when I come do the show. I try to watch everything twice before we do the show, but I didn't get to watch this twice fully. And I'm kind of disappointed about that. That's all I'll say, is just because I'm looking forward to kind of hear you unpack some of the meanings of maybe some of the stuff behind the film, as I'm sure you know, or if you looked into it, because I have some questions. Like, once we get to the questions round, if they're not answered, like I have some questions about certain stuff, interpretations of stuff in the film. And I dug it. I did end up liking it quite a bit. Yeah, so good pick once again. Yeah. But yeah, my hot take about all that though, like Jay, that you alluded to there, is that I'm definitely seeing a theme. Like I've said this before about Julie coded films on here, but like,
you know what appeals to me, you know?
I don't, but I kind of wanted you to answer if you even have an answer for that. Why though? Because like Julie has a theme going on, guys, on the show here, where I literally only I feel like noticed with this pick because of how closely it was related to Pan's Labyrinth. And then I was like, oh yeah, but then there was this pick that she had that's like that, and this pick. She picks a lot of movies that are about young child,
female girls. Yeah, exactly.
Protagonists that are in a fantasy. It's a fantasy-based film, but there's also darker undertone there at the same time.
Then you don't know if they're smart or they're stupid or like
Pan's Labyrinth.
She gets you like
Riddle of Fire. There's like kids in all of these films.
Spirited Away,
Florida Project. All of these movies that Julie has picked have the same theme across the board. Now, are you knowingly? Is this like? Are you
this was Julie at 4 years old.
No, but is she aware of this? Is what I want to know. And what is exactly bringing you to make these picks? Like, I just like what is the theme throughout these films? Because I find this very interesting. Because obviously, I'm sure if you went back and you see some of our other picks, there's probably a through line of things that are like specific to like me. Like a lot of my stuff, like I like a lot of conspiracy type stuff that makes you think. Like there's a lot of like I like a lot of that kind of stuff. I would say probably, and you've seen in some of my picks, right? But like. If I had to guess, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the list. But like, what is it about this that really speaks to you though? Because clearly, like, is something. But is it a choice, or is this just literally you're just throwing picks out there of things you like, and then somehow there's a specific in all of these
trend,
films.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. It really is.
And it's because they're different, but they're that similar base, that one little piece in there.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm like, literally, that's what I have in my notes. I was like, that's the biggest question I had from this film. I was just like, what is it?
It's like, actually hilarious because I don't do it intentionally.
That's what I figured.
It is the material that I'm drawn to, and it has been pointed out to me before by my therapist.
He did. I'm putting on my therapist hat right now, and I'm like, I gotta understand like where this is coming from. Like, because
my therapist has analyzed this. Okay.
Okay.
She thinks that I identify with the characters maybe a little too much.
Okay.
And she has identified that I like those coming of age movies.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
I mean, I love a good coming of age story, but this is more about
a young girl to knowing who she is afterwards.
The material seems to speak to me. I can't say that I've been through anything quite as traumatic as some of the shit that goes on in the movies that I pick.
Right.
But you can understand, right?
Something about I don't know.
Is that like a yearning for a lost childhood of some sort? I don't understand. Like,
that's what she thinks. Yeah, that's what my therapist thinks.
I'm not a therapist, but I mean, there's you can just see it, right? Like,
Not to get too personal here. It's just interesting. It's a very interesting. Like, that's what I stepped away from this film thinking. I'm like, wow, I never realized that there's such a fucking connection of the same kind of theme.
Pretty linear.
They're all good movies. They're like Jason, great picks. But and a lot of them I go into like trying to give, like not thinking I'm not going to like them. Like Pan's Labyrinth I had seen before. The other ones I hadn't seen. But like I said, there's still it still varies for me. Like Spirited Away I had seen before. Like I said, Riddle of Fire is kind of more at the end of that. Like I didn't love that one in comparison to some of your other picks, but like, but like, there's always something interesting about these movies that you pick, but I just couldn't help but notice that theme of a darker undertone of even in Spirited Away, like a young child, female protagonist. It's very interesting.
It's got something to do with being the oldest child.
Yeah, okay.
And having to have more responsibilities earlier on and not being able to fully experience childhood.
Teenage to 20 years.
It's something.
No. We're talking before that.
It's something you kind of want to hold on to. I get it. Like I do.
Elementary school.
I get it, and especially if some of these are nostalgic picks for you that you saw when you were younger. Some of these, right? So I would understand that too. So. I didn't think it was a conscious thing. That's even more interesting to me that you picked all these and it wasn't a conscious effort.
I picked them because I like them, but it was pointed out to me within the last year that I am drawn to these kinds of movies, but I'm not doing it on purpose.
Right.
in terms of the show, it's just they're ones that I really like.
No, that's
But
beautiful. That's
That's
fantastic.
funny.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But that's the reason why we do this show in that sense,
Hey,
right?
Now I'm like, I need to go look at all my picks. Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Where's the common denominator?
There's no
for
common
Nico,
denominator
dude?
in mine. It's whatever
It's
my
Michael
brain thinks.
Mann. That's the common denominator.
Wait till you hear mine. I mean, there's no real common denominator.
There is a lot of Michael Mann.
I like
Yeah,
Jewish
no, that's
people as my
interesting.
own.
It's I literally I'm not doing it on purpose, for the purposes of the show, but it is it's interesting that it was pointed out to me recently that it is thematically something that I am drawn to, and for reasons that you pretty much did pick up on. It is like a yearning for missing puzzle piece of childhood.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry to take it there. I didn't want to get too personal with it. It's just like, that's just it's just fascinating to me. I think again, you just come out with these bangers of picks that I haven't seen half the time, like Jay said. So it's I'm happy to hear to talk about it with you.
Don't worry, my next one's a little off script.
Okay, well,
Nico's gonna hate that one.
That's okay. I'm up for the challenge, right?
It's a challenging film.
Yeah, I'm up for it. I'm up for it. But yeah, go ahead. I mean, I got other thoughts, like things I liked about it or whatever.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Like I said, I think this is absolutely one of those films that continues to reward the viewer on multiple viewings. I said, like, I didn't love this at first, but it really ended up hooking me. I'm
glad. It was about 20 minutes in, you said, right?
Yeah, I would say so. It took
What was the turning point for you? Like, where was it? What was the scene?
I'll tell you. There's a moment where I'm so glad that they weren't a bunch of random non-interconnected stories that they were telling. I was very concerned about that. I even turned to Christine. I'm like, oh, thank God there's a consistent fantasy storyline epic.
Yeah, something is stitching this all together.
Yeah, because at first, you know how he tells that first story that has nothing to do with the stuff that he tells after, where she's like, yeah, story's like whatever. And he's like, come back the next day and I'll tell you like this epic or whatever. Get ready for it. I'm just glad that they continued with that story, because if this was like a bunch of random stories that they just told over the course of this film that had nothing to do with one another, at least at first glance, like an anthology or something like that, I would have really hated that. And like Christine knows, like that I would have like I hate dream sequences. I hate shit like that kind of stuff. Like even some fantasy based stuff is a stretch for me, like when it comes to certain stuff. Like but I could get with this because obviously there was that parallel kind of like storytelling of pulling in people that were from his real life in the hospital, and also like relating these characters to the things that happened to him in his own life as we learn as it goes on. So like that's kind of that underlying story is kind of really what ended up hooking me. Like, but I think that was the turning point for me, where I'm just like, oh, okay, so he's gonna continue to tell this story. And then, like just the things they hint at where he's like, I'll see you tomorrow. And then the guy closes the drape a little bit and you don't know what's going on with them. So there was like certain things where I'm like, the whole story was kind of still unfolding. And I'm like, okay, there's something more to just like what we're seeing here underneath the surface. Right. So that's kind of what really kind of started to hook me. Like, but it took me a bit, like I said, probably about 20 or so minutes into it. And yeah, I was a little worried at first about it, but I came around. I ended up really liking it by the end. The girl actress is fantastic. I wrote down the shooting locations are amazing. The way the story unfolds with the limited info that they give you throughout the narrative of the film, it really hooks you. They kind of they don't spoon feed you the story, which I really
you really have to tune in to like background dialogue and shit that's under the surface to understand the entire picture of what's happening, which is nice.
But also, like your other picks too, we're also seeing this through a child's eyes, the events of this film. So there's a lot of stuff that's obscured from the main character as a result of her maybe not understanding or grasping everything that's actually happening in the moment either, right? So again, something I think that was very present in Pan's Labyrinth as well, right, for that fact, and to the point where we were questioning what was real and what wasn't by the time we got to the film, right? To the end of the film. And yeah, that's what I wrote down here. Similar to Pan's Labyrinth in the way that you're seeing the movie through the child's eyes, there's a bit of darkness underneath the real events taking place in the film amongst the more fantastical elements of the story being told. And then I mentioned all your picks kind of having a similarity in this way. Yeah, that's pretty much my major notes that I kind of wrote down about things that I really liked about the film. But that all on top of the fact that you yet again created, like, made a pick that was in that same wheelhouse, like the very Julie coded kind of film here, is what made me really kind of like take notice of this. And I was like, oh, that's great. Like, and how they all really work well. I stand on their own. Like, none of these films, like, obviously I'd say Pan's Labyrinth is the most closely related to this, I felt like, thematically, but they're all very not similar, other than like that one theme, I would say, like, in that sense. So good stuff. Yeah, I liked it.
I think something that stands out for me is how natural and realistic the dialogue is between Roy and Alexandria. Like, she constantly doesn't understand what he's saying, or he like, just their conversations feel like they're so seated in reality. They're so grounded in like how it is to talk to a child, especially a child that might not have English as a first language also.
So I was wondering, I was like, is she going on the whim here? Like, some of the stuff was like she was just, ad-libbing.
She probably like couldn't understand some of the things he was saying because English is not her first language. She's Romanian. Okay. And some of it just being he's using words that she doesn't understand because she's like 6 years old. And like when he's asking about the Eucharist and are you trying to save my soul? And she is like, what? Like, what are you saying? All of that dialogue is so funny to me because if you've ever babysat kids, you understand how dumb conversations can get because they don't know what the fuck you're saying. Like, you have to really bring it down to their level sometimes. So like that to me feels so authentic. I love that about this. I also really, like there's no stars, like big stars in this movie to distract from the story. Although Lee Pace has become a bit of a bigger star since.
I know Lee Pace, but I mainly know him from like
The Hobbit, right?
I didn't watch. Oh, I did watch the Hobbit movies. I don't remember him in that.
He's somebody in the Hobbit movies.
He's like, he plays a bunch of characters sometimes where you can't tell that it's him. Like in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, he's the villain, the Ronan the Accuser, and you can't tell it's him at all because he's got face paint and stuff, everything on him. Like you can't tell. He's done a bunch of roles like that. He's
in The Running Man that was just on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he is in that. You're right. Yeah, he kind of shows up in a lot of things, but he's not really like a big name still, in my opinion. No. Like, I think like real ones know, like people that really like him think he's a great actor, but like I feel like he's also like one of those guys that slips under the radar, to Julie's point. So he worked, and this is an earlier film for him. Honestly, this is like, I had never seen anything where he's this young. Honestly, the thing I really stood up and took notice of him though is also in a show that not a lot of people watch, and that's a show that they did called Halt or Catch Fire, which was an AMC show, and it was about like basically the creation of like the early days of like computers, and he's on that movie and on that show, and he's fantastic on that show. But he's like a Steve Jobs, like psychopath kind of level, like in terms of like how smart he is, but also like how like cutthroat kind of he is, like at times too. Like he's really good on that show. If anybody has ever interested to check that out, that's it's got a really good cast of, like, but it was one of those shows no one I feel like talked about or watched. Like it's got like 3 seasons or something. It's very, very good. He's excellent in it. So
he's and he's super fucking tall. Like,
yes.
He's like 6'6" or something.
Yeah, it's just 6'4".
Yeah.
I just want to see what else he was in. He's been in a now that I remember, because he's that face. You can recognize his face. Now.
Also, in addition to like film locations, obviously being a huge selling point for how cool this fucking movie is as far as production is concerned, the costumes are pimp as fuck, dude. They're so lit.
Yeah,
they did so good
for this part with the Bandito guys and all that stuff with the
for all of like the story that's being told. The costuming of the entire thing is so well done. Like it's
colorful,
crazy.
It works. It's nice compared to like the black and white that you see with but you know what I mean. Like
it's not black and white, but everything in the hospitals and like in the reality scenes kind of has like this gray wash to it. It feels kind of drab.
Yeah, I took away your name earlier, Jay, because you were doing trailers. My bad. There you go.
Oh,
I had that written down, so I wanted to add it back. Jay came prepared.
And also, yeah, just like the story being kind of fluid in that, like, just kind of a neat little wink to, like, it's she's conceiving it all in her mind as he tells the story. Is like, it starts out, I'm not sure whether he's the one doing the acting for the bandit in the beginning when he has the tooth gap and has the different accent. I don't know if it's still him or not. I wasn't paying that close attention. But
Yeah.
partway through, when she goes, why does he talk like that? And he goes, because he's your dad. And she goes, no, I don't. He's not. My dad's dead. And he goes, oh. And he was like, well, how do you want him to talk? Normal, like you. So then he becomes the bandit. But I don't know if it's the same guy before that.
I don't think so. I don't know. I was trying to see that too, but I didn't think it was him.
I didn't think to go back and check. I'm just like, I'm remembering it now that I meant to look into it. But anyway.
Check it out.
Yeah, I think that
No, Alexandria's father is played by a different guy at first, it looks like.
no, the first masked bandit. Yes, her dad is played by somebody else in like the dream sequence she has about the dad.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he plays the first iteration of the masked bandit with the tooth gap. But it doesn't really matter that much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously, like, the main, I don't even know. The main theme of this movie is that, like, fuck. How do I even boil it down to one thing? It's like this child is stuck in the hospital. She fell out of an orange tree. Her and her family seem to be kind of low income. They pick oranges for a living, it seems. And she fell out of a tree. She broke her arm. And yeah, and she broke her arm, so she's in a full up to the shoulder cast with her arm
that was crazy.
Pinned up. Yeah. Fuck, that must suck, dude. And
he wasn't the first.
He was not.
No, it was played by Emil.
Emil, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. He is the father. Yeah, character.
Also, this is a side point also, but they do make note of it in the narrative of the movie, but she has all her teeth when they're filming in the desert. And he says, oh, you got your teeth back. But I guess they must have written that in afterwards because she lost 2 teeth at the beginning of filming when they did the hospital stuff. Mm-hmm. So they must have like written it in, or maybe it just like happened to be part of it and it was good timing. But
and they wouldn't have grown in that fast either.
Probably a continuity thing with it being filmed over 4 years.
Maybe they ad-libbed it later.
Over 4 years, yeah.
That's what I mean, because they probably grew in.
They would have filmed her stuff first, right? Like,
yeah,
any of the stuff that involved her, they would have done that at the beginning, and the rest of it, because people that are
still breaks in between
the adult age of the rest of the actors, 4 years is not going to make a huge difference at their age. She's 6, she's going to be 10 by the time the fucking movie's finished being made, right? So maybe they filmed her stuff at the beginning or they filmed it at the end.
They could have did a little bit of in between of both, because I know there's some sort of laws for the child actors too, right? They can only work a certain amount of hours, blah blah blah.
There is now, but I don't know how much there was then.
That was 2006, so I don't think it was that bad.
20 years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I guess, but no, I mean, yeah, you're right in that sense too. I don't know, 20 years. I keep forgetting how long 20 years has been. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Macaulay Culkin was doing his thing in 2006.
Yeah. So
anyway, yeah, like I'm trying to summarize how. Okay, so she's in hospital circumstantially. She kind of has free roam of the hospital for whatever reason. I also forget what, like, it's set in the 20s or something.
20s, yeah, 1920.
Yeah. Okay.
In Los Angeles, once upon a time.
Right. So the film industry is new, and that's important to know. And she has free roam of this hospital for some reason. She's been there for a bit. She has to stay there because they don't want her to go back in the orange groves and break another arm. So she's stuck at the hospital with all these other cast of characters, and she just wanders about all these random wards of this hospital, and she ends up making friends with Roy, who is a stuntman that has broken both of his legs or part of his spine. I can't really remember which, and is basically paralyzed from the waist down. And he's incredibly depressed about it because he breaks whatever. He becomes paralyzed from a stunt he did during a movie, and then his girlfriend leaves him for the guy that he is the stuntman for in the movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Which really, okay, I'm glad that I understood everything.
Okay, I thought they died for some reason.
No, but it takes the whole film for you to really grasp. Like it honestly took me to the moment where they're watching the movie at the end together in the hospital, where the movie that he was a stunt guy in, for me to be like, oh. And then when I watched a bit of it today, I realized that's what they were showing you at the start. But at that time, you don't realize that that's what it is, and you're like, "What the hell is this?"
It's kind of like watching Memento, right? Like where the movie's being fed to you backwards.
Yes.
You have to go back and watch it again to understand.
So that part about it is just like brilliant, in my opinion. Like, because it's like it really takes you
it forces you to rewatch.
Not only that, you need to pay attention to the whole
movie,
because they're only giving you bits and pieces. So I'm so happy that I understood what I understood, because I was like, I was thinking I might come here today and me not even getting like the full story from that,
and be completely misled on what you understood.
Yeah, but that's what you just described was what I took away from it as well, was that he was the stuntman, and that's the other part about this movie that I actually really liked, is that it is about movies in a way too. Like, which I have more to say on that later, but I thought that was very interesting how it kind of tied that back in at the end. And she even said like, oh, I've seen some of his movies since then. Like he kind of got up out of the bed, I guess. Right. Or at a certain point and got his he was the mobility back at a certain point, right. Which I thought was interesting to see at the end. And then they show you like a bunch of clips of stunts that they would pull it back in the day, like in these black and white films, right?
Old Charlie Chaplin stuff.
Yeah. But Buster Keaton and stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
He's one of those characters too, Lee. There, that Roy, that you can love him too because you feel for him, and then you can hate him at the same time for what he's doing, kind of thing.
Yeah,
he's a very polarizing character. He's a piece of shit for big part of this movie.
Yeah, really for most. Yeah, when you know what he's doing. But then you understand why he's doing it in this sense too.
He wants to die. He's
depressed. He's not going to get anything.
She befriends him in the hospital. He tells her he befriends her because he sees in her that she's a vulnerable person that he could manipulate, and he befriends her by telling her this very short version of a story that he can concoct. To explain to her that, oh, she must be named after Alexander the Great, and then tells her this little version of like what story she can dream up basically about Alexander the Great, and then says come back tomorrow, and basically eggs her on to go get these morphine pills for him, or else he can't finish the story. And she just really wants to hear the story, and so she wants to. And he says all kinds of things. Oh, I can't sleep very well, so I need these pills. But she even at first only brings him 3, and then he crashes out about that. And it's this whole saga of him just manipulating this young girl to get in these pills because he wants to kill himself, but by telling her this very fantastical adventure, and you hope that he's going to come around and find that, that in his little friendship that he sort of accumulates with her, that maybe he's not going to be so fucking sad and want to kill himself. But he sort of just marches on with his crusade to suicide in this hospital. And then eventually he does come around to like, I'm being a fucking bad person, when she gets hurt trying to get him some more fucking pills. And so it's dark.
Yeah.
It's dark.
I don't mind dark stuff though, personally. Right?
It gives it dimension to me. It's like, We just
came off of talking about a dark film last time that we did this billboards, right? At some of the themes. So,
Mhm.
but this had the benefit of having the fantastic epic storyline, despite that also taking a turn when he's lashing out and being a dick and fucking killing off all the characters because of the way that he feels. And I do find it very interesting. JT, of course, also identifies with this character, as he previously just mentioned, lashing out at the world and being a dick, taking it out on
It's interesting. That's an interesting callback.
See those, Nico?
I just find it interesting that you're like, oh yeah, this guy.
Oh, it's just some piping hot tea we've got here. Holy shit!
No, man, I felt bad too for him because he felt bad and I felt bad for him because he realized what he's doing. I almost had a tear at the end here.
There's that's there are parts of it that are incredibly sad.
But then you get this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The Indian,
And the corrupt governor Odious, which is there's so many little Easter eggs amongst his whole storytelling, right? Because like odious means like something that's deserving of hatred, and Governor Odious is the guy that he's pissed off at for stealing his girlfriend in real life.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the movie star. That's the movie star guy.
Which I don't know if they're actually supposed to be brothers. I don't know if that was implied.
I mean, it would make sense if they somewhat looked alike for him being a stuntman, right?
Yeah, like it's mentioned somewhere that it's his brother, but I didn't like latch onto it enough to be confident about saying that, so I don't know whether that's true.
Wasn't there two bandits?
There was two, and they were twins, but then the blue bandit dies.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how that just gives him a revenge story. But then it's like sort of revealed that he is like chasing after the princess, who is his girlfriend, but not his girlfriend. Because I think that the princess is actually Nurse Evelyn. Or at least like the character in the story, I think it's the same two actresses.
Yeah. Evelyn and
but the girlfriend that he's actually lost in real life is not.
No,
that's not the same person. So I'm not entirely sure.
No.
I also thought it was interesting, and I don't know if you know this, Julie, but were all the characters based off of like real life figures? Because Charles Darwin, of course, was a real person who believed in the evolution of like the human species, which is why kind of it was interesting seeing him the way that character was for loving all like different.
And Wallace is also
is the shit.
Wallace is a person. He's not a monkey. He like Wallace the monkey is based on Darwin and Wallace. Wallace was Charles Darwin's partner in a lot of his discoveries. Wallace was like the brains of the operation, but then he dies, and Darwin gets credited for a lot of his discoveries.
Well,
and then Darwinism, the term itself is
that's like a whole.
I mean, the way even the monkey was giving him the directions.
Wallace was the smarter guy, but Wallace in real life is a person.
And even give him the wink. If you look at, there's this one scene that the monkey kind of in the bag gives him the wink.
I didn't catch that. See, I didn't catch. I knew there was things I didn't catch, and that's something right there. So then
you'd have to research after the fact, right? Like that's not a thing that I just like knew.
No, I thought I seen it. I was going to ask too.
I knew Darwin was.
No, but the Wallace, the thing with the monkey blinking, that one, that was a trip. I seen that as I was like, did this monkey just blink at him after he gave me advice?
Yes, he'll like get the monkey like whispers to him, and then he goes, I have an idea, and it's the monkey's idea.
Yeah, it's a fucking trip. It really was a mind trip. Like I was enjoying that part. The story, the fantasy story about it.
Darwin's monkey Wallace is a reference to the naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace, who independently developed the idea of natural selection. Darwin and Wallace presented the theory together, but due to the publication, Darwin usually gets sole credit for the theory.
Yeah.
So it is kind of it's an allusion to like something that actually happened in history. The scene on Butterfly Island when Darwin closes Wallace in the sack and says, I have an idea, alludes to him taking sole credit for ideas that were not completely his own.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. See, this is why I think those directors probably signed on to get it some note, because these are real deep seeds and meanings behind this. A lot of things that are going on in this film, like
He did his research, man.
for that kind of money and not to make any money really off of it, that kind of sucks, because it was.
I'm
like
sure
I said, I
after
find
the
it a
fact
hidden gem.
it's caught up, but yeah, box office it did not do well.
To Jay's point there, yeah, I mean, this truly does feel like the fact that he filmed it. First off, I don't know
$40 million is a lot of money.
I was about to say, I don't really know the history about this, but this is like basically the equivalent of what people have been talking about with the new Christopher Nolan film, because he did something similar with the movie that he's about to come out with, where he traveled all over the world and filmed
The Odyssey?
The Odyssey, yeah. So, but I'm just saying that studios do not back passion projects like this anymore. They rarely ever do. You have to essentially be somebody of Christopher Nolan's status at this point in time and have that relationship with a studio that is so like that believes in you so much that they will actually back a project like this at this point. Because like the fact that he got this made, and again, I don't know too much about the history behind this, but it took a few years to produce, and he's traveling all over the world and doing all this kind of stuff. Like that's like absolutely like a passion project at that point, because like he clearly believed in this story that he was telling in this film, because it's just impressive. You don't see this. Like the only thing I can think of is literally the equivalent of that Odyssey film that hasn't come out yet, because that's the way people have been talking about it this past year. Is like there's updates of him traveling to different locations and filming this thing, right? And this thing could come out and shit the bed for all we know, right? It's just like this maybe did in that sense, in terms of like what it brought back in sales. I doubt that, but I mean, I'm just saying, like that's the risk you run with this kind of thing, right? So
I was trying to figure out if like Fincher and Spike Jonze attaching themselves to this project, if that it had anything to do with producer credits or anything like that, if like that helped with their backing for this. But they literally are just David Fincher and Spike Jonze present. Like I think they just attached their names to the project to get it seen once it was made. But they have a huge
there as writers or anything as producers.
Amount of producers attached to it, and they're all line itemed by where they were from, but their executive producer was Tommy Turtle, which I remember seeing at the beginning and laughing about it, and he also was a producer for one of his other movies. I think Immortals is also by Tarsem.
Yeah. I was gonna say Immortals, The Cell. There's not much that are from him.
There's not too much. Yeah,
a lot of
Immortals
commercials
is one
and
of
some
his,
like what do you call it? Documentaries.
Mirror. He also backed that one for him. Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which is another kind of odd.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. Yeah, I like it.
It is a good one, but it's not one that people necessarily seek out. Like it is kind of a weird.
It's one of my least favorite David Fincher films.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, it's still got to pay attention to that one too. In a sense.
But they have line items here. They have a producer from Italy. They have one from Brazil. They have one from Turkey. One from South Africa. One from Egypt. One from actually 4 from Brazil.
Greece.
Tarsem also produced one from Prague. One from China. Tommy Turtle was an executive producer. Nico Sultanicus was a co-producer. Ajit Singh was an executive producer. Ray Leahy was an associate producer. Wow. Lionel Kopp was a co-producer. They have like 20 producers attached to it.
Yeah.
Which would have had to been where they were getting their backing from, like as far as money's concerned, right?
Or like even pulling from like different teams for different scouting locations for like different different parts of the film. Exactly.
Some are in different countries, right?
I'm curious, Julie, is there an extended cut of this like that didn't like, is there like a 3-hour version of this film? Because the other impressive thing about this is like how much was actually left on the cutting room floor through editing on this film, because if they actually went out of their way to do all this kind of stuff, and this is just under 2 hours still of a film, which I thought was pretty impressive.
It's a solid 2 hours though.
Absolutely. They tell an epic like storyline in it, right? Like it's
kind of if you saw the one that is like an hour 57.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the one that they put out. There is a cut down version of this, I think. Or no, maybe it was one that had additional scenes. I read somewhere yesterday when I was doing my write-up about there was either they had cut some scenes or they had added some additional scenes that were just like fluff and it didn't add anything. So they tightened it up for the release. I think that feels right. That they
7 or 2 something. Yeah, maybe with the credits 2 something that I seen. 207.
You might have seen the one with the extra bits then, but some people, I think it was in a Reddit thread, some people were like, oh, I saw the release at some San Francisco film festival or something, and they didn't like, it was like a re-release, and there was additional scenes, and they didn't really fuck with it because it didn't add anything.
Yeah, it didn't play.
So that this version, the theatrical release, whatever, is like the tight 2 hours. It's polished. Yeah. But I don't think, as far as mine, I have deleted scenes on my DVD. Couldn't tell you what they are, but
okay.
And there's featurettes, whatever the hell that means, but I don't have a fucking DVD player anymore, so I couldn't tell you.
I don't even have one on the computer anymore. Fuck.
My computer doesn't have a fucking disk drive, so I couldn't. Yeah.
I don't think I do, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It's buried in some Reddit thread somewhere from yesterday that there's I feel like it was less than 15 minutes of additional.
Okay.
Probably just the deleted scenes.
Nothing that made a big difference.
No. And the consensus was that people did not care for the additional scenes as being part of the full release because it's like didn't add anything.
Okay.
And did you watch through the credits at all? When not that like you have to sit there and pay attention to the credits, but did you see the credit sequence at the end? There's no like additional scenes or anything playing next to the credits. It's just like it gives you an idea of how huge the production team was because it's broken down by country.
Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Again, like I just feel like you don't see stuff like that anymore, right? And sadly, I don't want to use this as the poster child of that, but if they brought back that much money in in initial sales when this movie came out in comparison to how much they spent, that's why studios don't want to take those risks as much anymore these days, right? Because it'll only be appreciated by very few moviegoers, especially by today's standards compared to 20 years ago where people would still go into the theaters regularly, right? Like I feel like now that's like, it's near impossible.
Very far from, very far in between now, a lot of them.
Okay, so to my earlier point about people believing that he was a paraplegic, it started because the casting agent for Kantiko Taro, who was the little girl, led the little girl, to believe that he was a real life paraplegic. And then Tarsem got the entire cast to believe it, to have, so that there wasn't any slip up of like, so she would believe that the whole time.
Yeah.
And then,
I honestly believed
the first time that she saw him standing, maybe it was that she was happy and shocked or whatever. And they probably got that.
In my head, because I didn't realize about him playing the other character as well. But I mean, the when he was in the bed, I honestly thought for the first like in one of those scenes, I thought they were taking him and lifting him to take a piss or something. But I think they were just there talking to him, right? Like just to pretend like he was maybe they were pretending. So she was when she was peeking through, right?
Yeah.
Then there's that thing underneath the bed that looked like that's where he pissed in, or was that a
bedpan or something?
Or was that? Yeah, I was wondering if that was a brace that they made him wear around his back or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't notice it.
Yeah, of some sort. But it was either that or it looked like one of those like potties, like with like something that you would put on a horse. He goes, she didn't believe him that he had to wet the bed, right? He did it right here in his bed, right? So I'm looking in the scene that they're showing. They got something underneath, but you don't know if that's further back than the bed or if that's what she's talking about. I have a hard time. I was having a hard time with that, but that's why I figured he was just paraplegic. I didn't, think anything of it.
I also got to give my shout out to the editor and the cinematographer on some of those fucking transition sequences. They're so tight, like the butterfly into the island.
My favorite was the spilling of the coffee with him slapping
the
red, the blood on the
first
first
going upwards.
Yeah, that was I thought
Sick.
like Chef's kiss, like you know what I mean? Like that was I was like, well,
It
that
was like
was
psycho type of shit.
That-
There's
that was
so many seamless transitional shots between like he's getting back into storytelling and they're switching over back into fantasy land. They're
Well, even-
so well done. They're so tight. And that there's no visual effects team, or sorry, there's a visual effects team, but it was all for practical effects that they had to do.
Mhm.
But that there's no computer generation. Allegedly there's no green screen, but there was one scene where I thought I noticed an odd movement between the foreground and the background that could have been green screen. It was the only time in which I was suspicious. And it's when he's sort of knocking out on the morphine and he's like falling asleep mid dream sequence. So in the like fantasy story, he's sort of like fucking, nodding off and he's sort of dying there. And it's the way he's moving against the background, like they don't match, and it makes me think that there's might be a green screen spot there. But that was the only spot that I noticed and became suspicious. The rest of it, I'm like, it's incredible what they did.
It's picturesque. Yeah, it really is. Like
It's
like,
so cool.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like that's unreal.
Apparently he got cast in the Hobbit stuff because of this movie. Peter Jackson cast him as King Thranduil, I don't know how to say it, in the Hobbit trilogy after seeing this movie.
Okay. Yeah, I've only watched those once. I'm not a huge fan of the Tolkien stuff, so so I that doesn't really do much for me. But Lee Pace is good though. I mean, it's like I said, I've seen him do some good stuff, so it was nice to see him in this. I never watched this obviously before this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's inspired by a different movie.
I don't believe.
You don't believe what?
No, that's how she says it. I don't believe.
Oh yeah.
It's based on a movie from 1981 called Yo Ho Ho, which I was like, wonder if it's a pirate movie, and it is. And it's about a 10-year-old boy with a broken arm who befriends a young paraplegic actor in a hospital, and they make up a pirate story together where they both play the main roles. So it's inspired by something of very similar.
He even says that in this. Oh yeah, sure, it's a pirate story. Yeah, there's pirates. Yeah, there's also all these like other characters, right? He kind of just went from there. Yeah.
Well, you know what I noticed that I thought was weird too? It caught my eye in the production, in the intro when they're they're lifting the horse and all that stuff out of the water. That was cool. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't know if they were saving the horse or if they were saving a person at one point, right? When they're using the crane to pull the horse out of the water. How they're showing that sequence, and right in the beginning in the credits.
Oh,
they're introducing basically everybody there in that sense. There was that something productions. Was it Googly
Productions, which is.
And then the old man was using that. Just say that, right?
Googly, be gone. Yeah. Googly Productions is the name of Tarsem's production company.
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck did I hear that from? And then it's because I read it in the beginning credits. That's where I had realized that it was weird.
Good catch.
Right? I don't know. I there was a lot of weird things that I can catch in this fucking film. It's fucking, it's everywhere, and it keeps the mind focused, and because it's just even when they he cuts the scene off on her, like cuts the story off on her, and he talks as he's talking and kind of talking about it, and take 2 steps because she had to take a pee, and she wouldn't leave. She goes, "You're always cutting it off at the best parts." Right?
He was like, "Just go to the bathroom."
So cute.
No.
Yeah. It was so cute, and you thought at first he was genuinely trying to do this, right? But fuck, man.
Apparently,
that Indian guy looked like
addition,
Jason Momoa, coming out of the fucking water there.
He did look like Jason Momoa.
Yeah, it threw me out. I was like, Aquaman? No, where am I watching? Right?
He's Lobo now. All right, watch it.
I think, just another thing, just adding to just the larger than life production that is this movie, is that he told some magazine that it took him 20 years to write it and 17 years to location scout it. Probably happening in tandem, but and then 4 years to shoot it.
Yeah, so he was preparing for this film his whole life is basically what he's
20 years to make it.
Well,
yeah.
All right. I mean, I hope he's proud of it then, because it is quite the film.
It is.
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know. I think it's deserving of accolade. I think it deserves more credit than it gets. Like, I just think it's not known enough, and that makes me sad.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree because I feel like I've never heard anyone. I rarely ever talk about this film. I feel like I've seen it kind of like amongst like the internet, like sometimes in like letterbox community and stuff like that. But I don't think it's been properly represented by any means because I haven't heard many people talk about this. I think the most I've ever heard anybody talk about this was from you previously on the show. So
I think it's slept on. I'm trying to tell,
it's sad
share
to
my
find
joy.
It's kind of sad that you had to find it in a bargain bin in a sense, really, as to for the movie in that sense.
Telling you, man, that's where I find the best shit.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, a lot of it goes there, right? Because people follow along with media trend and stuff like that. Like this,
It's just
like
unfortunate.
Really far-fetched, and it's
physical media no longer being as accessible as it was, and I say that only in that everything is digital now. Of course, there's physical media out there. You can still go to places like Vinegar Syndrome and you can get movies. But
how much longer is it? We wonder. That's
first of all, bargain bins are sort of gone by the wayside because it's sort of become a novelty of sorts that you can't really get a fucking movie anymore for $6.99, wherever the fuck that movie was I had in my hand earlier. You go to one of these places and you're gonna pay like $30 or $40 for a movie now because that's just the way it is. It's become a novelty. It's sort of swung the other way. And there isn't the same kind of tactile fascination of like searching for something like this in the era of like digital media. Like, sure, you can fucking scroll Netflix for hours, but like...
I was going to say, though, slowly the pendulum is swinging back the other way because what's happening now is people are getting sick and tired of having their content remove movies that they like from their streaming services to just end up on another streaming service. And then you got to have like 5 different streaming services in order. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes, even when you have all those streaming services, and I can speak to this, and that's why I like physical media, I'm pro physical media, you can't find it on any of the streaming services, or it's there and you have to pay an extra amount to watch it. So like that's the other thing, right? Or not, or you can't find it. Yes, we all know about your ways, Jay. You sail the 7 seas all the time. but as do I in some cases.
Do what you want because a pirate is free.
I don't own this movie. You know, maybe I will one day if I ever come across it. But that's the thing. I think that I think it's turning the tide a little bit in that sense, is that people are realizing that there is still a benefit to having the Blu-ray of something or the DVD of something if you can watch it still, because you may not always find it on these streaming services, especially like deep cuts like this one, for instance, right? Like, so I think there's definitely a benefit towards it. But yeah, Julie's right. I mean, that is true. That is kind of the way that it is trending towards. But I think that there's a small contingency of people that I feel like are now realizing that it actually helps to have some things like this still, like, and especially amongst all these streaming war type stuff going on with all these companies, right? So
but there's just but my point being is that there's not an equivalent yet, because we're not totally swung the other way. But there isn't like a digital equivalent of like leafing through a bargain bin to find something that looks cool. Like, the digital version of that, fucking scrolling the archives of whatever fucking streaming service you have open, doesn't hit the same.
No.
Because I used to spend like an hour in
that's the same
little stores flipping through a bargain binning to see what looks cool, and this looks fucking cool.
That was the Blockbuster experience that you're just referring to.
Bring it back, baby. We want Blockbuster back.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. That tactile experience of like being able to see the cover, be like, oh, what's that? That looks interesting. Like you said, looking at the back cover, seeing what it's about. You know what I mean? Like that whole experience is gone by the wayside. You were absolutely right.
Right?
I remember going just to get VHS films to do that. And
dude.
Inside, you know?
Yeah.
And have the book on the inside.
You're going to rent video games.
Right.
Yeah. So But yeah, that's also a much larger conversation, but worth noting because that's how you came across this. Very interesting.
Very.
Do you want to get into favorite scenes and quotes? Or is there anything you want to add?
I kind of touched on all of my favorites, like scenes. I didn't write down that many lines, but like I mostly was focused on like those transitional scenes. Like there's the butterfly, like I mentioned. There is, like Nico mentioned, the spilled coffee turns into the blood-soaked tapestry. Any of those seamless transitional shots are so cool, and that butterfly one particularly is so interwoven and so smooth.
Even the elephant one too, right? Where he's swimming and then he's just all of a sudden he's touching the ground, like that. It just they're from one side to the other and like nothing.
It's incredible.
It seems so cool because you're watching it. It's like, oh, this is like almost like a nature thing at one second, but he's telling the story. And it's you know, you're getting lost now with that story. You're getting lost into what's really going on in the deep part, man. And
it's hard to even pick a favorite scenes. Like it's literally chock full of just.
I mean, I'm surprised they had white slaves.
Yeah, that's a thing. If you watch it on Prime, which I don't know if it's on Prime right now, I didn't watch it on Prime, but
I wrote that down. They freed them.
On Prime, it's got a content warning, and I looked this up during the movie because I was like, I got suspicious partway through. The Mystic, the Mystic is a white guy, and
I didn't even
blackface in the movie.
Oh, I thought that guy was just covered in mud or something.
No, but it's makeup.
Well, okay, maybe it's a loose interpretation because he is represented by the old man, so maybe he is meant to just be like incredibly dirty and unkept.
I thought he was, because there's a whole scene where he basically
loses his hair and stuff.
Takes his teeth out, yeah.
Whatever. Prime gave it a content warning for blackface. It's the only content warning it's got.
Wow. Not the white slaves? Come on, man.
I don't know. I partway through when I was like, I remembered that he was represented by somebody in real life, but I just couldn't remember where the story went to figure out who he was meant to be. And I was like, I wonder, because we've already we've got the representation of the black guy. Also, tell me if I'm off base on this at all. Do you not think that his costume in the fantasy world, that he was dressed like Anubis?
Like with the weird fucking
with his like big long horns.
But he was a slave too.
He was, and he's represented by the guy that's bringing the ice blocks to the hospispital every day.
So cool. Like that's how they used to bring them. That's
Isn't
so
that
fucking
crazy?
Cool. In the 20s. Yeah, they had to bring. Like where did they go, to the Arctic to get the ice cubes?
That was a cool throwback in this film too, though. Seeing that, because I haven't seen that represented in anything in so friggin' long. I was like, oh, that's interesting that they did that. And I liked how she came out, she bit the ice, like she put her like teeth on it or whatever.
Yeah, and he was like, don't do that, you'll get sick.
I thought she licked it. I thought she had her tongue to it. Like
she did, but then she just put her like mouth on it.
Her teeth on it. Yeah,
that was funny.
Oh.
Well, I can throw out a scene then.
Go ahead.
Like you said, like there's so many fantastic, like it's all these great locations for the set pieces for the battle the battles that ensued, and just like some of the more like, you know, moments where they're just standing around even talking that had insane backdrops of like places that they were actually just filming out in the middle of the desert and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could say any of those, and even the transition work that you said, but there's a couple of scenes that stood out to me particularly that I really enjoyed. One of them being like towards the end where everybody almost finds gets their demise, essentially, when he starts picking them all off in the story and killing them. Mm-hmm. It's the scene specifically where they're almost like in the middle of like almost like a pyramid based structure,
and all of those guys are running.
Yes, that is amazing. And those are all actual like background like guys running, like that structure alone with all the steps like as the backdrop, and seeing all of them literally just in the background, all these guys are running up steps as they're fighting. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, what a feat just seeing that. Like the coordination on that must have been insane. Like, I can't believe like they were able to capture that. Like, all these guys running up the stairs. That was alone, like, as the backdrop. I was like, and then again, that was just a backdrop. Like, obviously played into it a little bit more than that, but like, very cool that was just like like happening behind him amongst all the chaos that was going on in that scene. Like, wow, crazy stuff. Like, that really stood out to me. I love that. And then also the part where she falls and cracks her head. That whole sequence of events.
Oh, that stop motion.
Yes, exactly. Yes, the stop motion. I was like, that also blew me away too. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to incorporate stop motion into this now. I'm like, this is like, I did not expect them to throw stop motion in the middle of all this kind of stuff.
It's kind of an outlier. It sort of sticks out like a sore thumb to the rest of the movie.
Nugget though, like that. I like that kind of shit. Like, it's like when Quentin Tarantino and Kill Bill did an anime sequence all of a sudden. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for a second it takes you out of it, but then you're like, you just kind of get wrapped up in like how cool looking it is. And you're just like, oh yeah, that is like, you know, like you said, it didn't really, it maybe what didn't fit well with the other stuff that was going on in the movie, but I still dug the shit out of it. Like, just watching that thing.
It was really cool. Yeah. Like in its implementation, I think that it just like, it's a stark comparison because that part, even though it's like, it's claymation or like their felt figures or whatever they were for that stop motion thing, it feels particularly gruesome compared to the rest of it too. Like, there's something really, when I say off-putting, I mean like it's almost disgusting. Like, it's gross, it feels like, compared to the rest of it. But I say that as like a visceral response to like, it's creepy.
Yeah, it's like Tim Burton entered the
yeah, but that also that's him flexing the other muscle. Like, if you've ever seen The Cell, that kind of plays to one of his strengths too. So it's like, it's not totally out of place if you like have seen some of his other stuff. But yeah, to me, it's really like a standalone scene as far as it feels very different. Like, it gives me like a visceral reaction every time I see it. And I always forget about it too until I see it.
I think that's good though, because she's falling. Yeah. It's a very dark scene because she falls during that scene, and like, you don't know what the hell's going on with her, if she survived or what, right? And then you find out she cracked her head open there.
She's having like, it's almost like a hallucination of like her vision of like they're about to chop her up, like she was hearing that story about the kid that was dead on the table, like worried that he was going to get chopped up. It's like her experiencing some kind of concussed version of that.
Well, you see in that scene where she's walking through the hospital and she gets into that, I guess the grown-up part of the hospital, and there's that guy with that fucking mask, full suit on. Like, is that the guy? Like, is that like
he's an X-ray tech.
Oh,
wearing a lead helmet.
I thought it was like these guys got this hospital have a crematorium too, and I'm going, what the fuck's going on in this hospital?
It might, but he's going into the X-ray room, so it's probably just a lead helmet for the X-ray room.
Yeah.
That's the thing too, Jay, is that by today's standards, modern medicine back then was very barbaric in many ways, like compared to now, right?
It looks
like,
scary, bro.
That's the thing, right? Like, that's why.
And that guy's the helmet is what all those dudes in the fantasy that were running around in that building. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, even if you see like mental hospitals, like even if you look at like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest,
I was going to say,
like,
that's another one too. Like, I was just literally thinking that.
Yeah, no, it's true though. But if you see that, that's why those things don't sit well by today's standards, because they are creepy. Like, a lot of the time, like these older.
But it is also the truth. I mean, it really is how it was,
right?
In that sense, a lot of it, right?
It's very no frills, kind of like. Yeah,
but I mean, when
when
she sneaks in to go get the medicine and she sees that fucking those babies, like that scene with the babies in the jar, that was a trip.
Oh, that's just
I know the formaldehyde, but still, like whatever. But then she sees the other kid die.
Yeah,
like, she sees him. She's literally watching him die.
What did you have anything specific for scenes there? Because I still got a couple others, but Jay?
Yeah, cool. No, keep going. I just threw that in there because that was something that I'm just reading off my notes here.
No, I know. I was just trying to give you an opportunity if you have other stuff you wanted to bring up, as I already mentioned a couple.
Yeah. No, I'm looking through as you're talking, so I'm just like get it.
So another one of my favorite scenes, which I don't think like I'd be interested to hear what you think of this one, Julie, because like I don't know if it's like something that just stood out to me, or if this is something that's intentional in the film or that other people kind of latched onto, but I did really strike a chord with me. And I kind of mentioned it briefly earlier. It is that final scene where they're all sitting there watching the movie, and it kind of all comes full circle, not only because of the realization of him being the stuntman in those films, but it also was the fact that I felt like it was speaking to the power of film in a way, because in that moment, they were all able to enjoy each other's, like, you know, in like watching the movie and like being together and having laughs, and like they kind of all mesmerized and locked in watching the film there in that moment.
It's
And
sort of like a meta moment of us watching the film, watching itself.
Right. And then also like them being able to, like, despite like the circumstances that all those people were in, being sick and hurt and banged up in the hospital, it's like it kind of gives you that idea of the power of film, that you can escape your current circumstances for a moment by kind of watching the movie. That really,
illustration of escapism.
Yeah, I really liked that. Like, and I don't know if that was the intention behind it, but that's what I got.
I think it is.
That's what I got from that moment, and it kind of that matched up with the fact that it kind of came full circle, that you learned that he was a stuntman and everything in that moment, and how it was all connected. I was like, I just thought that was a great way to kind of send us off into the final moments of the film, right? Because it's that, and then you get like the epilogue, you get after her talking about what she did after she got out of the hospital eventually, I feel like, after that scene. But it's really that moment, I think, that just really brought it all together. And I was like, that's the beauty of this thing. Like, this is why we enjoy talking about, it's why we enjoy watching movies. Like, I just felt like even everything that was going on with those guys, they were able to escape for a moment. Like, and like you could see they're all enjoying the film by watching it. Other. And then like it kind of panned across the room, and he saw, oh, that's that orderly, that's this guy in the story, and that's this guy that was in the story, and you kind of really start connecting the dots even more so with seeing them all there together, almost all the characters, other than obviously the Indian guy, which was her Indian friend, I believe, that was in the story. If I had to, because remember she's in the orchard or whatever at the end of the film. I believe that's where
he's there.
Yeah, remember she's like, oh yeah, this is my Indian friend in the photo or whatever. She shows inside the box, right? That's what I think he was that guy. But it was just, again, but most of the people were people that actually worked in that hospital, right? That were in the story. So
fun fact about that Indian guy, before you say your thing, Jay, is he owned pretty much all of the horses in the movie.
Oh, really?
He has a stable, I think it's in Mumbai, and he owned pretty much all of those horses. The horses that they had, at least for the dream sequence or the fantasy sequence, they're a special kind of horse. Their ears are shaped a certain way, like a scimitar or something. You can only find them in the deserts of India, apparently.
That's awesome.
So he has a stable, and he owns almost all of those horses in the movie.
That's awesome.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, there was. Now you made me forget what I was going to say.
Sorry.
I had a brain fart. No, the stuff in the box. I feel like a lot of the stuff that he's seen in the box that was playing out in his part of telling the story too, right? That he noticed. Like, I mean, she had the elephant in there. She was showing him her father, her mother, whatever. Then I also feel like she wanted to stay. She wanted to stay longer at the hospital when her mom came in, and she was translating for the doctor, right? Well, that's just how we talk. Right?
Did you guys have subtitles for that part? Did you?
No, I was going to ask you the same thing. Did anybody have it? Do you have them?
I did not have them, and I couldn't remember if the DVD had them or not. Because I feel
have a feeling it was like played that way perfectly.
I have a recollection of knowing that the mom says something different because you could see it on screen.
You didn't need them though. You really
no, like you understood that she was
If
kind
that was
conning it into it, yeah. She wanted to stay. You could tell.
The intention of the scene still came across without subtitles.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just couldn't remember if they were baked into the movie in any other. Anyway,
is it so? You know that scene where Buddy finished, where he's getting high off the drugs at that point, and the priest is there, and Alexandra, everything's going in slow mo, and how it went from the priest and all that into the next scene. Into the next shot where they were like looking from above, and it kind of almost looked like the outline of the priest's face and stuff, because then you're starting to see where it starts spiraling, and you start to see how you're seeing a body get carried out, and I'm thinking, what the fuck, did he really overdose?
Oh, yeah.
Right, like this is where my view on this whole movie changed, right? Like, because I was like kind of feeling bad in one way, but then after it went and turned us back around to, you know,
that whole sequence is fucking crazy.
it's fucking fast, and you got to pick up, you got to get it quick, like, because next thing you know, he's beside her on the fucking bed. Well, because she fuck trying to help him out, but she's so cute because she thinks it literally says a 3, the morphine.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's where, like, when she ends up banging her head and he ends up at her bedside, and it was the first time he actually got up out of the bed, it just takes like a really dark turn because he's so down in the dumps at that time that he starts doing all this. The story just goes like, it takes a bad turn, and he starts killing everybody off, and he's just lashing out of it, and he's like, you know, he's upset, right? And that's where he starts killing all the characters off, and that was the other moment I wanted to talk about, was when he did say, like, one of the only quotes I wrote down was like when he said, like when he actually admits that story was just a trick for me to get you to get me something, like, right? Like, so like when he reveals that to her, that's such like a sad moment, like, because like he has to reveal that, like, you're like almost like you're an idiot, like, this is what I was doing this whole time, I'm a bad person, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to, that's kind of where he comes full circle, where he's like admitting finally to himself, like, what he's been doing this whole time has been, and it's a child, right? Like, well, I think that's the character. I think that's the character turn for him, where he realizes, like, I got to change my ways, like, a little bit at the end there, because it's kind of, he's at his darkest in that moment, because he's not succeeded in killing himself twice now, because he gave him placebos. They gave him salt pills in that one.
Oh, the sugar ones. Yeah, he was freaking out.
Or sugar pills. Yeah. So, but yeah, that part when he says that and he comes to that realization, he admits that to her, and he's just like, I've been lying to you this whole time. Like, that was a really powerful moment, I thought, too, in the movie. Like, was the, you know, and then, like, you know, and then she's like, why are you killing everybody? Right? He's like, why are you making everybody die? He's like, it's my story. He's like, it's mine too. Right? Like, and like, it's because he's just killing everybody left and right in that story. And it's just because he's just feeling so terrible. Like, he's just pissed off at the world. Right? So,
oh, fuck, man. Imagine that. Like, if that's what you got, you know, you would be pissed off at the world too. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And they know, and the hospital's smart. They know they were giving him placebos just to see, so he didn't fucking, because she was like, I always wondered, did she really even, like, did she purposely just give him 3, or, like, you know, it was like she saved his life back then, or, you know, in that sense, not even realizing by only giving him the 3 pills, and he was all pissy about it, right? And that's when you kind of thought about it, but then the storyline went differently, and it kind of lost me in that, right? But even when she was touching his toes, and
apparently they wrote that bit in because
so cute. Like, because she's like, yeah, I touched it.
Somebody's writing, I think it was Tarsem's writing, she misread it as a 3 instead of an E, so they wrote that part in.
Oh, okay.
So like when she was reading the script or whatever the fuck, she was reading something that he wrote, and
those are letters that get easily with kids.
She misread it as a 3, so they wrote that bit into the movie because it was cute.
Yeah, it really was.
Okay. Score Bros. Your other bro isn't here.
Fuck Score Bros this episode, dude. He's not even here.
You know what? I'll give the music by whatever Levy, whatever. I'll give that music. It really did play well with the story.
That Beethoven song, I will forever, like, the main theme is Beethoven. It's an Allegra, I think. Hold on. I should know this.
Score, but, you know, I mean, it did play well with the dramatic sequence of the movie, the ups and downs. It played really well to it.
Symphony Number 7 in A major. Beethoven.
That's a big
It's
one.
the main theme. It's like the opening theme, and then they kind of use pieces of it consistently throughout the film. My other little Score Bros note was only that I liked the little sort of twinkling motif when she's like closing her eyes and like watching her thumb perspective change, and there's like a little piano note when she winks her eyes.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was the cutest thing in it, and then
she was
that accent was on, like, you know, it played so well to the character and the time frame, and that, you know what I mean? It played so well. It was better than even like a Matilda. You know, where she has that accent.
Good though.
I know.
She was older, I think. But which character would you smoke with? I mean, it's got to be the Masked Bandit, right? I mean, in my opinion, it's
I want the Indian guy.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Cool, man.
No,
Mine
the Indian
was-
guy.
mine-
The guy
mine-
with no teeth too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, blackface guy. Is that who you want?
Yeah.
Oh, there's all kind. Maybe Darwin. Maybe the monkey. Who knows, man? There's all
Darwin
kinds.
would be good too. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. No, actually, no. I
Wasn't
think
he one of the nurses, right, in the hospital or doctors or whatever they were?
the boom guy. That's who I want to smoke with.
Kaboom! Yeah.
Throw some dynamite.
Dude, I watched this movie high, and it was that's I think what got me hooked to it because it was so
Trippy visually.
But I like how it has you guessing throughout the film. That's what I loved about it for a bit, right? Like,
yeah, I feel like Julie's mentioned she's done some substances and watched this film before. If I'm not
This one?
yeah. I thought
I
maybe
took
I'm
a trip
wrong.
to Integrity Farms for this one. Yeah,
Maybe. Not that I can recall, but no, I don't think maybe not with this one necessarily. I should have.
Yeah, I thought
I'm telling you,
I'm
I'm telling you, it's a good one.
How about you, Julie? Who would you smoke with in this film?
Wallace.
Wallace? Okay. Nice. There you go. The monkey.
The monkey. No, honestly,
Smarter than Darwin.
Yeah.
well, he probably was high too.
Imagine.
Bro, that was another scene. When the monkey died, I was sad. I was like, what
Bro,
the
he played
hell?
dead pretty good, eh? That monkey played dead pretty good. 'Cause I'm pretty sure they didn't shoot a monkey in this film, but yeah, I know. I get, yeah, he was a good actor. That monkey.
Watch party review. I have one for this actually this time. too.
Oh, please
Wow.
go ahead.
Christine also watched this for the first time, but she kind of her thoughts on the movie really aligned with mine as well. She wasn't so sure at the start. She was giving me a couple of glances, even like, I don't know about this. And then like all of a sudden it took like a super turn for her and she got super invested in the story. And by the end of it, she really ended up loving it. She was like, that movie like really built up. Like it was very interesting. She liked the girl. She loved the girl actor in this as well. But yeah, same thing. She liked all the elements that were in it, and obviously, you know, I made the connection with the Pan's Labyrinth. She actually even contributed. Well, she loves Pan's Labyrinth as well. She even contributed a couple of like movie pairings. Well, for this film, that things that reminded her of for this one. So, yeah, no, she really liked it. She was like, she actually even brought it up the next day, where she's like, yeah, you know what, I did really actually like that movie. That was interesting. But same thing, she was like, what the hell are we watching when I started it? And I'm like, I don't know. This is Julie's next pick, so I'm watching it, and and I threw it on. And but yeah, and somewhere along the way, like it was a part where I had to get up and like grab something, and she was like, oh, we gotta pause it. Like she was like super into it, like at like halfway through, not even like, so she was totally invested by like I said, probably around the same time I was, like you know, maybe almost.
I wonder, that's probably what even happened to me the first time I watched it, is that first 20 minutes just I didn't latch on. I
don't want to say it's a slog to get through, because I think it's one of those films that if you were to rewatch it, that those parts are just as good as anything else.
They're important. But
that's what I mean. I just think you don't really know what the story is for the first little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then that whole start with the black and white movie thing kind of threw me off right from the get-go as well. I didn't understand the importance of that.
That's what I figured too. I think it was me, right? In the first, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put this on while I'm laying down here and see what happens. Next thing I know, I was sleeping, right? So
yeah, but it made a lasting impression with Christine. She really dug it. So yeah, for sure. How about you? Did you watch it with anybody, Julie? Or
I did watch it with Parth, just Parth though, and he really, really dug that Butterfly to Island transition. We went back and rewatched it 3 times just to see how clean it was. He also really loved the elephant scene crossing the river, and he said, I think I have to do that before I die. I think I have to cross a river on an elephant. Like, he really liked that part. We equally shared this funny moment where the mystic is getting revealed, sort of me standing on top of that pile, and they sort of do this camera pullback where they're behind him, and we both started laughing because the mystic was so caked up. Like, his ass was so tight in that little fucking thing, and we were both laughing about it. Parts of it he found were too sad, but he also liked it overall, and he said it has a lot of really cool Easter eggs.
So he had never seen this because isn't he
He'd
the one that
never seen
had
it.
this pick? But I guess based off you talking about it, right?
He'd never seen it. He's only just heard me talk about it.
Awesome. Okay, so he ended up liking it.
He did think it was too sad at some times, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that bothered by that. I don't know why. But sad is also like humor, like stuff that makes you sad. It's all like very subjective. I feel like what can really, like, I actually feel that, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was still trying to kind of piece together what this was, though. Maybe I would be more sad because I'll know the whole story next time when I watch it. Pan's Labyrinth, I think, is way more sad personally because of the war, kind of like.
I think so. Yeah, like overall, very dark.
Very dark.
Yeah.
All right, questions. I got a few, so I don't know, but you go ahead, Julie, because you probably got some good ones here.
Did you guys? Okay, so you caught the part, I'm sure, where the mystic is initially revealed, and they make some kind of mention about these birds.
Yeah.
And then when the mystic is getting killed, the birds are released. Did you find any connection in that? Like, did you find that represented anything concrete for you?
Not necessarily the birds, but I will say, and this might connect to one of your other questions, unless you know the answer to this, because it's one of my questions. Is the repetition of butterflies being in the narrative? Because I feel like the only thing I could get from that is like that's like a form of rebirth, right? A transformation and rebirth, kind of like, right? So like maybe the birds symbolizes that he's going off to the afterlife or something, or I don't know, like
the doves being released like that.
Yeah, like I don't like that was what I was gonna ask about the butterflies, because there's constant references and butterflies.
Butterfly Island.
And butterflies, that's the only thing that comes to mind when I think of them, is that it's supposed to kind of represent that, right? So I don't know if that was what they were trying to get to with that, but
the birds is a separate thing. I do think I agree with you on the butterflies and like the whole thing about basically they have to break themselves down to absolutely nothing before they have this transitional phase and they become the butterfly. Right. I think that is sort of an metaphor of what Roy is supposed to be going through, this whole like this constant butterfly imagery going on, is that he needs to hit rock bottom before he can fucking turn a new leaf and come around. I think that's what's going on with that.
Which also plays into another one of my questions.
Okay.
What is the name of this film?
The fall is in reference to his fall, not hers.
Okay. That's okay. That's what but again, I didn't know that till like later in the film with his.
I thought the horse fell.
But
in the water.
No, he falls when he jumps off the. Yeah, okay, maybe we didn't go through this enough. Essentially, they're showing in the movie he is jumping off the train bridge onto a horse, and he misses the horse and breaks his back.
That's how he fucks up his back.
And then he's in the water.
And you're right, though. He was wearing a brace. He was wearing a back brace. I saw it somewhere when I was looking for something.
It was under the bed.
Yeah.
See, but that's where it gets interesting, is that I did note that there's two falls in this. And then after, when I got to the end of the movie and you see all that, I was like, oh, okay, they're referring to his fall.
There's three, actually.
No, but I was going to say, you can take it in a very literal sense. Oh, yeah, there's a fall in the fantasy, too, the Indian's wife or whatever, right?
No. There's
a fall there, too.
His fall, and then her first fall to break her arm, and her second fall to crack her head.
Yeah.
Oh, the arm. I didn't think of the arm. I was thinking of the head. Yeah. Okay.
And they the doctor referenced
the falls are all the cumulative falling is bringing them together.
But what I was going to point out is that what I came up with after I kind of pinpointed, it's obviously about this guy's fall, is like you said, it's basically like what you were just saying, fall from grace, like a very literal, he has to hit rock bottom. I think it's actually supposed to mean this was his not only his fall that he hurt himself, but this is sinking so deep.
Yeah,
that
it's probably a
such a shitty person at that
he almost
moment.
Got a girl killed. Yeah,
this is probably a very multifaceted, layered sort of thing going on, because his fall his fall from grace, but also like fall is in the season, is changing of seasons. It's a lot of layers, I'm sure.
But that's why I wanted to say this is an excellent title too, by the way. I didn't mention that, but it's an excellent title. because of that, there's so many things you can kind of pinpoint that to, like what that's why I did think it ultimately. I do think it's because of the guy's fault, because that's what leads to this whole thing, and it kind of ends on that note. I think you're right, but it is interesting to think it from the literal sense of like, you know, like JT's favorite movie there, Falling Down, where the guy spirals out.
That's Nico. You're gonna walk in with a fucking.
So, but going back to what you said, the bird thing I didn't catch though. No, I didn't catch that. Like,
I missed the dialogue when they first introduced the mystic, when they talk about the birds being inside him. I didn't, when we were watching it, I didn't catch it word for word what they said. I do remember it being mentioned. And then when he is getting beat to death, I have another question following this actually, but when he's dying, the birds are coming out of him, and like you said, that's probably actually a good point to
maybe he was overdosing on the morphine,
his life force leaving because that guy had died. The one that it sort of is the reveal then that he coughs out the fake teeth, and then you realize that the mystic is meant to as far as like figurally meant to represent the old guy who has died.
Yes.
So then the birds are leaving, and that could just be maybe his life force leaving his body. That's actually a good point. What I'd found numerous people that are very passionate about this movie that have written these sort of, you know, essays about the meanings behind it, right?
Yes.
The one that I did find most interesting had to do with a breakdown of the five bandits being representations of aspects of Roy's character. Although they are physically represented through her mind's eye as people that she knows from real life, but their characteristics are meant to be, according to this person anyway, representations of aspects of Roy. And that the mystic is meant to represent Alexandria because the mystic emerges from this burnt tree, and her house got burned down, and that's part of her whole story of how she came to be in this country, whatever. And that he has birds in his belly, and birds are meant to be this sort of symbol of hope, and she is a representation of hope to him, although he doesn't recognize it at all. And then the masked bandit is sort of insistent on that he has no use for a mystic, just as Roy believes he has no use for Alexandria, as like sort of a, of course he has like use for her because he's going to manipulate her to get stuff, but he has no use for her hope and her healing and like her friendship, and doesn't see any value in that. So he, you know, doesn't see any use in having the mystic, and then the mystic stays with them. And then when the mystic is coughing up these birds, it's like when he's hitting his absolute low and all the hope is leaving. And she's like, why are you killing everybody? And she's like breaking down in real time as the story that he's telling is unfolding, and the birds are leaving. And so they're both entirely hopeless in that moment. It's allegedly what that is representing, at least according to this one essay. And the other point of evidence that they had to prove that might be what they're trying to convey here is that the mystic only speaks in gibberish, and Darwin is the only one that can understand the mystic. And Roy sees her love note and says it's gibberish, but we know as the audience that it's not gibberish because we saw it at the beginning and we could read it. Mm-hmm. But he can't read it because he's closed off to her love and her admiration and her hope. And that was this person's essay to why the mystic was representative of her.
That all makes sense.
I mean, I thought the whole throwing up of that was the whole the things out of the mouth was maybe him because he was
he's dying. I think that's fair
at that time, and I think maybe he was throwing it back up because he didn't die, right?
The old man did die.
No. I'm talking about the paraplegic that was taking what's his name there, Roy.
No. The old man from real life that had his fake teeth.
Yeah, I know that guy died.
He was dead already. So the birds may be representative of the old man's dying.
Okay.
That's what he's saying, which I don't think that that's an unfair assessment to make of it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I knew had to be some like metaphors for certain stuff like going on in the narrative of the film.
We know that I love.
Yeah, right. Well, I still remember when I
Spirited Away.
we're talking about Spirited Away, and I did not know any of the things that were representative in that film yet. I've always enjoyed it, but I didn't know any of that stuff that you talked about on that show. Yeah, that's still to this day. That was like a transformative experience for me. I remember just like, holy crap, I didn't realize like, you know, from the all the things that were deep rooted in the film, right? So very cool.
My other question, much more simple. Which part of it made you the most sad? Which was your lowest, saddest part of the movie?
When she hit her head.
And then it starts that whole sequence?
Yes.
So like the bulk of that, like where that's where it gets.
Where he's at her where he's at his bedside or her bedside. Because,
okay.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
that.
It starts that whole sequence right there. I have it literally written out there. It says like she falls and then he's trying to wake. Sorry, she gets the pills, right? And he's giving her the pills, and then she tries to wake him up, but then she's in the dream too because she fell out off that thing. So it all plays out into that she sees that body being wheeled out, and she kisses the hand. And at that part, I thought maybe it was Roy.
Yeah, well, that's the point. Oh, you're talking about a different part. No, that's a different part. You're talking about when she gives him all the pills.
When she steals the pills from the other guy, and he takes them all.
And he freaks out about the sugar pills.
The part where he's like, "I'm going to sleep now. Leave me alone, and don't come back here." Yeah, that part's sad too. That's probably, but for me, I think it's the part after where she hits her head and he comes to her side, because it's the realization that he comes to that I feel is the most powerful part of the film, where he has to admit, he kind of has to look back in the mirror at himself in that scene and be like, I'm a horrible person. You know what I mean? Like that for me was deep. Like that was probably my favorite part of it. But
at the end where he's at the bedside and she's crying. He's crying.
Part you're saying though is also sad though, because it's so.
Then you're starting to see that shift.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's so dark, though. Him saying like, "Okay, I'm going to sleep now. Don't come back and check in on
but it's
me."
basically, hey, it's my turn to get high. I'm trying to get high now.
He literally has like a paper of like 50 pills that he's just crushing. And, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Like it's dark. It is dark. It is probably the darkest part of the movie. Is that part, honestly? But I can't blame you for that.
I do identify with the same part. Like you guys are talking about the larger part of like where the bulk of it and the storytelling and it's all together is like he's hitting rock bottom. Like, yes, I agree with that on a broader scope, but I think where it really starts to get gut wrenching for me, first of all, when the monkey gets shot, that's awful.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Awful.
It is. See,
and then the part that really fucking pains me is when they're beating the shit out of the Mystic.
Oh, they really beat the shit out of him.
And he's like, he becomes the old man and he's confused and he lost his teeth. So he loses all his strength and he just becomes so meek and so defenseless and they just beat him to death. And that is the worst part to me.
Yeah, it is pretty brutal. Yeah, no, you're right. That is a pretty brutal beatdown that he takes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, on a broader scope, it's all preceded by he's come to her bedside and is like, she was like, are they mad that I hurt myself? And he says, no, they're mad, but not at you.
Right.
And you're practically famous now. And then even though he's there as like a sort of realizing moment of like, wow, I gotta fucking turn this shit around, he still tells an awful ending to the story, and it's brutal, and he kills all the characters off and makes them both incredibly sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Kind of climaxes like a crazy fucking down note there.
Oh, I had one more question. I totally forgot about this one. So when we're watching the movie, like the movie that he's in, and it gets to that part, and there's sort of this slowdown and this sort of heartbeat in the background, and his breathing starts to like hyperventilate, and the sound design's sort of like zeroes in on his experience of the film. And they've come to that
Well,
part where he's about to jump off the bridge, and then there's a big cut. They don't show like the stunt. The guy in the movie lands on the horse and it's all fine. And then he sort of has this sigh of relief. That part is a little bit lost on me because I'm not sure what he's experiencing. Because I don't know whether it's relief for not having to watch the stunt, or if it's like the movie turned out good and I did well. I don't know what he's experiencing in that moment. It's confusing to me.
I think I think this is where that question that I wrote it down like this because I was watching and trying to write as the scene was going on. But I said, did they watch a movie about the story, or did he already watch that movie and that's how he told his story, or he knew that how he told his story?
He was in the movie.
Yeah, but he told his story to her along that same sort of lines, and that's it.
It does sort of, like the cast and like the storyline sort of mirrors.
Yeah, it's like a parallel.
The characters kind of mirror the people that he's been talking about in the story.
Yeah. So
but it's like a cowboy movie.
I wrote really, it's like her doing her own movie review on Roy at the end, if you think about it. Because she's watching it about him. They're sitting there and she's basically doing it like a little review of herself.
She does. She talks about all the movies that she saw of him after the fact too.
Yeah.
Like he kind of got better and was able to go back and do the stunts, right? I never thought what that was, Julie, but you're right. I think it's actually probably what you said, the second one that you said, that he was relieved that it still turned out all right. Because I think he had so little at that time that
hope.
Yeah, I think that kind of made him happy that they were still able
to. But then like the people behind him were like, am I missing something? That was it? That's what's got this guy so fucking depressed and he's holed up in the hospital and we're having to pay him for it, blah, blah, blah. They were like downplaying what happened to him.
I think it's just because like he had so little going for him at that time that was like one thing that kind of he had to look forward to still in that moment. And then having that, being able to finally see that, because obviously he didn't see the finished product prior to then, and being able to, I think, enjoy that moment with the others there, I think was important to him. Like, you know what I mean? Because that is his like life's work. He clearly cared a lot about what he did, but the major thing that I feel like made him spiral out outside of the injury obviously was that he lost his true love there with that woman, or so he thought at the time, right?
And he was worried he wasn't going to walk again. He was going to lose his entire career. Yeah, like everything fell apart for him.
Yeah, so no, that's a good point. I don't know. I would say it would probably be this. If I had to guess, I think it's the second thing you said, is that it's more about the movie than anything.
It's like I had these two versions of it in my mind, and I was trying to like sort between like, is he relieved because he didn't have to watch the stunt fail because they didn't use it, or is he like, oh, thank God the movie looks good? Like I could not sort out which one it was meant to be.
It could be either or. That's true. Yeah. They obviously made a point of it though, right?
Yeah.
I had another weird question just randomly, but at that, you know, and they're showing that first scene with that first whole horse thing with that fucking train. I like that whole picture of the train, how they're doing it. The train, when it's blowing is the thing, because it's just parked there, so it's on because they're using it, right? But you seen this steam blow out the side. Is that because it's just like a pressure relief? Because
it's the air brake or whatever.
No, they were stopped. No, I think it's a pressure relief. Like, you know, and it because it's a tank. Like I think steam engine. It's got to build up steam somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So if you just park there, still with your fucking motor going, steam coal burning, that's like a giant espresso machine ready to fucking burst.
Well, it's like it's compressed gas, right?
Release valve. I just liked that whole where the bridge was, that you know. That view of it was so cool too, right?
Yeah.
And then lifting a horse, that's how they used to do it back in the day, out of the water. Is that what they're like? That's still, I still folk on that first scene.
Really, I thought that was this horse thing.
Well, they're using how they're using a crane, like the way they were doing it, just because I know it's the 20s, so I'm not thinking like nowadays. Yeah, okay, somebody.
You always hyper focus on like the weirdest.
It's so true, bro. It's so true.
The strangest part, yeah. But like this happened in the future. I don't understand.
Like 2 hours into something, and you'd be like, "But that horse!"
It's straight up, bro.
Honestly, Julie, this is literally him on Game of Thrones, and he always talks about trees. He's like, "What's that tree?" And like and now he's like popping up in like every fucking Game of Thrones thing we watch. There's a tree. And I'm just like, this fucking guy. I'm like, everybody's talking about
truly
book that I have. That is a tree. The book.
a
Everything,
unique
bro.
perspective in that he'll hyper focus on things that nobody else paid attention to.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like an idiot because I fucking
Oh, I
nobody's
mean,
else
listen,
paid attention
it's a
to it.
unique perspective, like she
That's
said.
the ADHD, bro.
It's great stuff. No one else is making your takes on movies. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Just-
Oh, I'm
true.
telling you, bro. Like, I mean, I honestly thought I wrote down. It's like her
What
doing
about
her
this
own
engine?
movie review. Yeah,
no, I love it.
Must ask them about the horse.
I got so into it, man.
The
I was
fact that
like,
he circled back, he went from the engine to talking about the horse again. He's like, well, seriously, what about this horse?
How did they create lift the horse in the 20s?
This guy.
that's fucking sick. No, I'm just sorry, man.
No, it's good stuff. It's hilarious. Movie double feature.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Any old hospital movie like that, man.
Nice.
It's a brilliant pairing.
It is.
You know,
He stole
honestly,
it from me.
you got the Indian. You got the Indian in there too, man. So we're all good. And people doing drugs and trying to kill
Oh
themselves.
yeah,
each
that's
other.
an Indian in that too. That's
But all different kinds of rooms.
it's a native Indian in that one.
Whatever.
I'm an Indian.
Hey,
I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be some native
a
Indians.
little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's it, bro. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let's not get into what cultures they were trying to depict in this one. We don't want to get into another Mayan fucking Aztec conversation here.
You'll see in the movie, in the black and white movie that they show, the Indian quotations is depicted as a Native American,
there you go.
and then in his story he says Indian, and she pictures her actual Indian friend, because she knows what an Indian is.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
That's a nice little nod that they do, sort of in the linguistic differences between her,
right.
the Romanian girl, and him,
Right.
an ignorant American guy.
Right. Well, that's why. I mean, that's why he's just referring to him as the Indian character.
Yeah,
He's
and
like,
she's like, "Oh, I know what an Indian is.
right.
That's
He's
how we
from
talk.
India." Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, go ahead.
you want me to go or you want to go?
You should go because I have a bunch.
I do too, but so I'll ramble some of them off.
Go ahead.
One actually I just came up with when I was talking about this movie here is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, only because of
I wrote that down too, dude.
the stuntman angle,
okay.
angle of that movie, because it centers around a stuntman
Yeah.
with Brad
Yeah,
Pitt's character.
Time frame,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and exactly, it's old school Hollywood. So it actually, there's a lot. Actually, I mean, obviously, there's a lot that has nothing to do with the film thematically, but there is that little that part of
It's
it.
the
where I'm like,
stuntman feature.
yeah. it is.
Maybe The Adventures of Cliff Booth will also be a good pairing.
More so, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, any of those other movies that Julie's talked about here on this show that were picks, but Florida Project,
Both.
yeah, Pan's Labyrinth as well, but Florida Project, not only because of the performance of that girl, but there's a certain scene in this movie where he was going to sleep and she starts making all these goofy faces that reminded me of the girl in Florida Project in that specific scene. I was like, oh, that's just like that girl from Florida Project when she starts doing all the goofy faces and stuff like at his bedside when he's falling asleep. It just reminded me so much of the character in the Florida Project, which I love. So I put that, and obviously Pan's Labyrinth, like we talked about. Never Ending Story, absolutely. Never Ending Story. That's about it. That's what I got.
Okay.
Cool.
Not to repeat things we've already said, but obviously both of these, this because all the aforementioned reasons. The Cell is the other movie that Tarsem Singh directed that, I mean, it has big names attached to it, being that it's Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
And it is a terrifying, like, it's grotesque. But it is kind of the same idea in that it is like, it's dream sequences. Have either of you seen this movie?
No, but I've heard about it for a
We've
long
talked about it
time.
before.
Yeah.
It's really, it's like they have to go into the mind of a murderer with like essentially an Inception type device to figure out where his last victim is. Jennifer Lopez has to go into his mind. In order to save a life, she'll have to risk her own. Jennifer Lopez takes a terrifying journey into the mind of a killer in this chilling, critically acclaimed psychological thriller. When a serial killer falls into a coma before his last victim can be found, child therapists must use an experimental treatment to enter his mind and learn his secrets before it's too late. It's the visually haunting world threatens her very existence when she becomes trapped inside his mind, and now FBI agent Vince Vaughn must rescue her from the killer's nightmare mind before he too is lost in his twisted world forever. It is like, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a horror movie, but it is grotesque, and it is super interesting what he concocted, like, for this twisted dream sequence world that this guy, anyway, that's Tarsem Singh also, and that was the point I was making about why that's a good pairing. Pan's Labyrinth we talked about. Life of Pi?
I've never seen it. I never, that's the one with these, like, the tiger.
He's trapped on a raft, and there's a tiger. Yeah.
Never seen
it. It is kind of a version of this where he's trapped on a life raft, and he's probably gonna die, and he's whether he's like imagining things to just sort of get through it because he's going through it, or whether he's hallucinating from dehydration. I wrote down Riddle of Fire. I wrote down The Princess Bride because that served as inspiration also for this movie, apparently. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which I pair with things constantly. Big Fish also, which nobody has watched yet, but
you can still pick it someday. Absolutely. I actually saw that I did do a search at one point just to see if there was anything that people would. I put fantasy epics down in Google, and this is one of the ones that came up, and I was like, oh, okay. I was just like, oh, that's another Julie pick right there.
It's beautiful and it's moving, but it is so irredeemably sad.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. I'll watch it.
I don't know if this is a good fit, but The Illusionist.
Oh, that's the what's
the Edward Norton version of your magician movie?
Oh, fuck that version. I know. How dare you? I know it came out literally the same time as the Christopher Nolan one. You run the one that we watched, Jay,
yes.
with the Julie Magicians.
I watched it.
Do you watch it for the show? You
not for the show, but you told me to watch it, and I did watch it.
You liked it, right?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. I just think that fucking Edward Norton version is like the inferior version.
How dare you? That's my boy. On the thread of stuntman movies, in addition to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I wrote down Drive.
That's it. Drive. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Any Studio Ghibli movie at all. I haven't seen this movie, but a lot of people online said that it is a good pairing. Mirror Mask.
Oh, the Neil Gaiman one. Yeah.
I never watched it. I always saw, that's another one that I like. If I'd ever come across it in a bargain bin because I've seen the cover, I would fucking buy it.
Like, it's gonna be in the same wheelhouse as a Coraline or something like that.
Okay, which is also a good pairing.
That's true.
I think that was it. I think I did them all.
Nice. Well, there you go. That's our movie pairings or movie double feature pairings here for this film. And then finally, legacy of the movie, Julie, if you want to end us off on this.
Not that I've seen that many of his films, but I do think that this is Tarsem Singh's most underappreciated film, and it's his best film, in my opinion.
Me having not watched any of his films, so having no reference at all, I just said it's the fact that he took him 4 years to complete this epic. Then I think that's like, this is a legacy. Like, alone is like the fact that he got this made, I think, is just impressive. He obviously went to big lengths to kind of get this out there. So
it's incredible. And I think it's deserving of so much more accolade. But with time, everything becomes. You never saw. Oh no, that's. No, I'm wrong about that. He also did that Mirror Mirror movie that was like a Cinderella thing.
I didn't watch that either.
With Julia Roberts and somebody else.
Unless it was Black Mirror. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen that. No, this is my first introduction to his work, but I'll take your word for it.
He also directed Selfless.
Did I watch that? Selfless. I don't
No,
know.
It's
I watched that on the list.
Ryan Reynolds and Ben Kingsley.
Oh, I didn't watch that. Definitely.
Oh, I've seen it. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's not his best, but
I
it is
see a
cool.
picture. I just see a
it's like
picture
Ben
somewhere.
Kingsley.
Oh, yeah. I never watched this.
No,
No, never watched this.
it's not his best, but it wasn't boring.
Okay.
He also directed Immortals. I didn't see that, but that one's even worse rated than Selfless. And then he did a bunch of Pepsi commercials.
There you go. All right. Well, that's a legacy of the film. Any final thoughts, Julie, about this movie? Any other comments here?
Listen, someday I hope to hear Max's interpretation of whether he liked it or not, but today is not that day.
Unfortunately, Max wasn't able to join us here for this one, and hopefully he does. But
He's out there freeing white slaves for us.
I was about to say, I think Max is out do-rag shopping right now. So, I mean, that's why he wasn't able to join us here today.
Oh, man.
Someday.
Go ahead.
Someday we'll be here for one of my epic picks.
One of these days. But Jay, it's your pick next. Speaking of movie picks, why don't you hit us with your next one?
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna pick something that I just thought, it's an interesting one, and I watched it growing up as a kid. It brings back some memories. But I'm gonna go totally I don't know, out into left field here, literally.
Is it a baseball movie?
No pun intended. But yeah, League of Their Own.
Oh, the Tom Hanks movie with with what's her name?
Rose O'Donnell.
Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah.
It came out the year I was born.
There you go, Julie.
Damn, Jay.
This movie was released on my birthday.
Oh, and Gina
2006.
Davis?
There's a good cast in this movie. I haven't
It's great.
seen this movie since like I was a kid, man.
Dude, I mean, I'm gonna save it for when I do the. But why?
Yeah, we'll get into
movie.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, save it for the show. That's okay.
I went
Directed
right
by a woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't even know. The movie itself was just phenomenal for me. There's a lot.
Interesting pick, and it is baseball season, so there you go, guys. Make sure.
I like to keep some sort of theme.
Yeah,
I like to keep some sort of theme.
All right.
Make sure to check out our next episode, guys. We're gonna be talking a League of Their Own, and that's JT's pick for our next episode. So make sure to tune in for that one. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out our other content, our theme episodes, our trailer reactions. We drop all kinds of stuff for you guys. And it's always a lot of fun. So thank you to these guys again. Thank you, Julie, for the interesting pick. As always an interesting conversation and theme for that matter. Ongoing theme.
They're on to me, folks.
I can't wait for the next one. The next one, I'm gonna start making guesses. Get your votes in now, guys. Which the next one? But no, absolutely. I'm just kidding. You know that. But yeah, good pick. It's a fun time. So make sure to check it out, guys, if you haven't before. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace out, guys. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, everybody.